Hello everyone, welcome back to the Love in Riyadh show. Today is June 3rd and today's episode is basically about two very different journeys, one happening in Hollywood and the other potentially stretching across the entire Gulf. Let's start with Saudi producer Mohammed Al Turki, because if you followed Saudi cinema over the last few years, you've probably heard his name before. But usually it's in the credits. Usually he's the guy helping bring films to life behind the scenes. Now that's changing. Mohammed Al Turki has officially made his acting debut in Hollywood, appearing in Guy Ritchie's latest film, In the Grey. And honestly, that's a pretty cool career move. Most people know Al Turki as a producer. He's worked on major international films, helped support productions, and has become one of the most recognizable Saudi names in the global film industry. But now he's stepping in front of the camera for the first time. He plays a character called Wolfgang Close in The Grey, and he's sharing the screen with a pretty stacked cast. We're talking Jake Gyllenhaal, Henry Cavill, Rosamund Pike, and Isa Gonzalez. Not exactly a small debut. What makes it even more meaningful is that parts of the film were actually shot in Jeddah. And as someone who's proudly from Jeddah, getting to be part of a major international production filmed in your hometown while also making your acting debut, that's a pretty special full circle moment. And honestly, I think stories like this show how much the Saudi film industry has evolved. A few years ago, people were talking about building an industry. Now, Saudi talent is appearing in major international productions, both behind and in front of the camera. And it feels like we're seeing more and more examples of that every year. Now, speaking of big projects, and let's switch from Hollywood to railways, because a major transportation project in the Gulf just took a huge step forward. The long-awaited railway link connecting Kuwait and Saudi Arabia has officially been approved. And if you're someone who loves the idea of easier travel around the Gulf, this is a pretty exciting development. The project has received approval for its organizational plan and right-of-way, which basically means it can now move into the implementation phase. In other words, it's gone from being a long-term vision to something that's actually moving forward. But what's really interesting is that this isn't just about connecting Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. This railway is actually the first phase of a much larger GCC railway network. The full vision stretches more than 2,000 kilometers across the region. Imagine a future where rail travel connects Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Oman through one integrated network. That's a pretty huge shift in how people and goods could move around the Gulf. And it's not just about passenger travel either. The project is expected to improve trade, strengthen supply chains, reduce transportation costs, and support both Saudi Vision 2030 and Kuwait Vision 2035. But let's be honest, most people immediately jump to one thought, weekend trips, because the idea of hopping on a train instead of dealing with airport lines, boarding gates, baggage claim, and all the usual travel stress sounds pretty amazing. Imagine leaving Riyadh in the morning and arriving in Kuwait for lunch, or taking a train journey across multiple Gulf countries without ever stepping foot in an airport. We're obviously not there yet, but it's interesting to see the region moving closer to that reality. So today's stories are really about connection. One is about Saudi talent connecting with the global film industry on an even bigger stage. The other is about physically connecting countries across the Gulf through infrastructure. Very different stories, but both are reminders of how quickly things are evolving right now. Whether it's cinema or transportation, the next chapter is looking pretty interesting. That's it for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Love in Riyadh podcast as part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Please hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcast from.